Hello everyone. In today's video I will be discussing a new shader, one that is acquirable by hitting tier 40 in the season pass, that shader being EMRITAS Dream. Like I said just a second before, I do believe it shines more on weapons, and I do believe this is one of the best shaders we've ever had for weapons. I think this thing looks awesome, and I will show why. I think it looks good on every weapon, but there are a couple weapons that it really shines with. My first, I would say that Shire's Wrath looks really good with it, but I'm using this as an example of what it looks good with, not what it looks great with. I will get to great in just a second. There are a lot that it looks nice with, and I still think it's one of the best shaders for Palindrome, even though it's not the best. It looks great. It's a good shader. But then, when it comes to the original Trials weapons, it does something I've never seen before. It makes this brilliant purple that we've never seen on anything else before. It looks awesome, and I do believe if you're still the kind of person that uses the original Trials weapons, so Astral, I Have Soul, those like that, this is the best shader you could possibly use. And regardless of whether it's a Trials weapon or a Normals weapon, it looks really good, as you can see. I still think it's one of the best weapon shaders in the entire game, especially on Pray This Revenge. The shader's incredibly unique, incredibly easy to get, and I highly suggest you pick it up. For the armor build, I utilized the shader 5 times so that I could show it off, and I used much of what I was showing in the intro, but I do want to show what armor pieces I was using. For the helmet, I went with the cover of the Exile. For the arms, I went with the Meridian Constellation gloves. These are from the Season Pass. For the chest, I went with the Hold Fast vest. For the legs, I went with Stompies with Turbo Kickers. Many of you know that I don't think a fashion build is complete unless it actually utilizes a usable exotic. And for that reason, I use Stompies, because you're not going to use a fashion build if it's using something you don't like. And I know 99% of people like Stompies. And finally, I went with the Meridian Constellation Cloak. Both of these are from the Season Pass. I think these are some of the best ornaments Bungie has released in a really long time. I think this matches really well with the buckles right here and the chest piece up here, as well as the buckles and the little metal plates on the turbo kickers that you can see below the kneecaps. I also think the knives match the kneecaps. For the alternate armor pieces, in case you either do not have or do not like the armor pieces I used, I will show right now. I want to preface this by saying I highly suggest you utilize the cover of the Exile, as I believe the singular eye that glows up provides a great centerpiece for the entire build and changes the way the whole build looks, making it way better. However, if you don't have this or don't like it, I will suggest 2 helmets, that being the Lucent Night Casque and the Solstice Mask. I believe that the lights, in this case the red, and in this case the stasis, provide a drastic change to the rest of the build, not making it all white, which I believe makes it look way better. For the arms, I believe this build rides heavily on the fact that it is a very skinny hunter, and that if you were to utilize something like this, it would completely ruin the aesthetic. So for that reason, I believe there are 4 skinny arms you can use. However, I suggest you use 2 of them. This being a last-ditch resort, don't use the Righteous Grips, as I believe they look really bad, unless you use monochromatic, because monochromatic will wipe them out. If you are okay with utilizing different shaders for your EMRITAS Dream-based build, then I highly suggest you use these, as I think these are some of the best looking ones. Same thing goes for the Praefectus Grips with War Weary. Personally, I think these look better than the Righteous Grips based on this chest piece. However, if you use a different chest piece that I suggest, or if you pick one on your own, then I highly suggest you at least try these out. However, if you want to stick as close to the EMRITAS Dream as possible, I suggest either the Contender Grips or the ones I used, the Meridian Constellation gloves. I believe those look the best. For the chest piece, just like the arms, I wanted to utilize something skinny. For that reason, I'm not going to use something like this, as I believe that completely ruins the aesthetic, even though it's a good looking chest piece. So, if you don't have the Hold Fast vest somehow, or don't like it, which is probably the answer for most of you, because this is a weird looking chest piece, then I would go with the Contender vest, the Righteous vest with monochromatic. Keep in mind, the Righteous vest with monochromatic is quite a bit brighter than what the arms would be, so I highly suggest you utilize also the Righteous arms if you try to do this. And finally, I would suggest the Legatus Cuirass with War Weary. For the legs, similar to the chest piece and the arms, I wanted to utilize a skinny build and not something super beefy like these. So starting off, I would utilize the Contender Strides with War Weary. Keep in mind, just like the Righteous Chess Piece, these are a little bit brighter, so you might want to match it with the Righteous Chess Piece. Then I would utilize the Cryostrine Strides with AMRITAS Dream. And finally, the Lux Riders with AMRITAS Dream. I didn't really want to put these on there because I didn't think they matched terribly well, but at the same time, I still do believe they're similar to an honorable mention. So I will put the Meridian Constellation leg guards in there, because I think with the right shader, they can match really well. For the cloak, I do believe it's up to you. However, I am really liking this Meridian Constellation cloak right now. I believe this is one of the best cloaks in the game, and I really like the fuzz around it. But if you don't like this, then use one that's clean. Don't use something like this, because this just completely throws off the whole build. Use something like the Valkyrian cloak, the Lux cloak, even the Wild Hunt cloak. I'm not going to give too many examples because there are so many that would match exactly what I'm saying right now. Just don't use something crazy like this, and I think it would match extremely well. Use something simple. Something that either matches with the eye, for example, the Virtuous Cloak, or something like this. Just something simple, and you'll really pull the build together and make it look that much better. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I tried to make it a little bit more in-depth than I usually do, as I think this shader deserved it. I think this shader is really good, and I wanted to show people why. So tell me if you like this type of video more than my other types of videos, and if you have any other guns or armor pieces that you think AMRITAS Dream looks really good on, tell me in the comments, and please join my Discord. Thanks everyone.